Hey, Grace City Church, Pastor Josh just wrapped up. Second service, got one more to go. Great morning. I started my sermon this morning by saying I think that this is probably the most important sermon that I've preached yet on this topic of marriage. The title is The Most Powerful Act in Marriage. It's not sex, it's not buying a house. The most powerful act in marriage is the act of forgiveness. Two things that you can know will happen when you get married. You will sin against your spouse, and they will sin against you. If there isn't a mechanism in your marriage of forgiveness that you can engage when you sin and are sinned against, the marriage will not thrive, it will not grow, it will not be healthy, and it probably will not last. And so while forgiveness can be simple, it's also very complex. There are a lot of very, very hard issues and questions surrounding this issue of forgiveness. So we walk through the text in Ephesians 4, and we ask ourselves 6 questions about forgiveness. The first question is, what are common misconceptions about forgiveness? And I gave a 9, because as I hear often in counseling situations, many misconceptions about what it means for me to forgive somebody. Secondly, we ask, what is forgiveness? What does it look like and mean for me to forgive? Thirdly, we ask, why don't I forgive? If it's so important and so critical and so clear from God, why don't I want to do it? And then we looked at, why does Satan not want me to forgive? Because when we walk in unforgiveness and bitterness, we're playing into the enemy's hands. We're giving him room for a foothold and a stronghold in our life. That's why bitter Christians are some of the most powerful people you know, because they're children of God using the power of the enemy. And so why doesn't Satan want me to forgive? And then fifthly, we ask, what are the benefits of forgiveness? Why should I forgive? And we looked at 5 very, very clear blessings from God that come when we learn to receive forgiveness from God and extend to other people. And then lastly, we simply ask, are you forgiven? Because the reality of it is, you will not be able to extend forgiveness to people who have hurt you until you realize that God has forgiven more in you than you will ever be asked to forgive in someone else. And so the root that the Christian draws from to forgive those who've sinned against him is God's forgiveness of us. If we walk saying that God's forgiven us, but we refuse to forgive other people, we mock the cross and deny the God who's forgiven us. If we're not a believer, we're not walking with Jesus, we might think it's impossible for me to forgive. It's not. God loves you, he's for you, and he's going to offer you a power source that will give you a capacity beyond what you currently have on your own to extend forgiveness to even the worst of sinners and sins against you, so that you can be released from the prison you've put yourself in and given them the key in your unforgiveness. I love you, Grace City Church. This is a big message. It's a powerful message. It's an important message. And I know there are many, many broken and hurting marriages and broken and hurting individuals that I'm praying this message will encourage and set free forever. So I encourage you to listen to it if you haven't had a chance to yet. I'm going to be praying for you in your gospel communities that you'll talk, process, ask honest questions, deal with real stuff, and in community, the community of faith, walk into the beauty and blessing that God has for you in being free and being forgiven. Because the distinct mark of the Christian life, the distinct mark of the man and woman who follow in God, is that they increasingly quickly long and desire to forgive those who've sinned against them. Love you, Grace City Church. Praying for you. God bless. We'll see you next Sunday.